Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make the Deluxe Beaded Kumihimo necklace, which is an exclusive kit by Beadaholique. And we have 4 color variations. We've got Midnight Blue, which is this really pretty blue. You see that spiral focal with black and gold accents. Got Black Tie, which has the black jet focal with silver and gold accents. Rose Garden, which is a pretty combination of different colors. And then down here, the one I'm going to actually build is Forest Meadow. And we've got nice green check glass beads accented by gold and coppery tones and a brown cord. Like I mentioned, this is an exclusive kit by Beadaholique. So when you order it, you're going to get everything you need to make this necklace. So you're going to get the disc, the bobbins, the beads. You're going to get these check focal beads, a whole tube of union seed beads, E6000 glue, your end caps, your jump rings, your clasp, your chain, as well as your eslon for your braiding. And with this kit, you're also going to get this little wire needle. And it's really hard to see here, but it's something that's going to help you a lot. So what you'll need to provide are your tools besides the disc and the bobbins, which will come with the kit. That includes some toothpicks, a Post-it, a pair of cutters, a couple pairs of chain nose pliers, just a regular pair of scissors, and I'm going to be using painter's tape, but you can use any type of tape you want, and we're going to be using that just as a little added measure of security when we wind our bobbins. And then over here, I have a couple little variations on the design that I'm going to show you at the end of this video of ways you can just very easily alter the design a little bit. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to go ahead and clear these necklaces out just a little bit so I have a little bit more room. Maybe before I do that, I'll show you the actual construction that we're going to be doing. So we're going to be creating the actual Kumihimo braid first, and that consists of basically 3 different panels. So you have a nice length here, which is, let me measure it out for you, which is about 3.5 inches of the union seed bead Kumihimo braid. Then you have a spiral focal, which is going to be about 5 inches. And then you're going to do another 3.5 inches of just the seed beads. And then you'll see that this is finished off with chain. So all told, this necklace, there's 15 inches and another about 11. So it's going to be about 25, 26 inches depending on how tight your braiding is. And you can of course cut your chain shorter so it can be a shorter necklace as well. So that is what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be starting with the braid itself. So you're going to need a little bit of space on your work table. And you are going to be cutting 8 equal lengths of eslon, and you want them to be 40 inches long each. So I'm going to go ahead and do one right here to show you what you're going to be doing, and you'll need to make a total of 8 of them. So there's my 40 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop open our bobbin. It's really easy to do. You just press down in the center and pop it open. And this is where the painter's tape comes in. Again, you can use whatever type of tape you want. Packaging tape might be a little hard to get off of your bobbin, but masking tape or scotch tape or painter's tape should be fine. So I'm just going to tape the tail end in here. And I'm doing that just to hold it in place because we're going to be stringing on 75 beads. And if it was to come undone, that'd be a lot of beads to pick up off the floor. So we're going to start with our unions. Of course, you'll get whatever color of kit you pick out. And here's this little wire needle. Now it has a little loop on the end, and you're going to put your eslon through it. And we're going to go ahead and string on 25 of the unions. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got our 25 check glass, and now we're going to do another 25 of the unions. All right, so this is a complete strand. I'm going to take my needle off. So I've got 75 beads on there. I have 25 of the unions, 25 of the check, and 25 of the unions. And you have 8 strands you're going to make total. And on 4 of them, you're going to do this exact sequence. So 25, 25, 25. And then on the other 4, you're going to do 75 of the unions and none of the check. And that's because when it comes time to braid, you need to have the unions interspersed with the check glass to create the spiral. So I'm going to take my needle off. I'm going to show you a little tip to help you out with your needle. So this might be really hard to see, but as you are using your needle, the little loop gets kind of squished and depressed. It's because the beads are sliding over it. So you'll just take your toothpick or an awl or whatever maybe you have that has a little point to it and just twist it in that loop, and suddenly it's nice and big again and easy to slide your S-Lon through. So we're going to do a little bit of cooking show magic here. So I've got one strand right here. And to wind your bobbin, you just go like this and snap it shut. So I've already got my strands done. So I want to show you what they look like when you have all 8 done. All right, so when all 8 are done, I'm going to grab them from over here. This is what you've got. So you can see we've got the 4 strands with the 25, 25, 25 combo. And 4 strands with the 75 of the unions. And then here at the end, what I've done is I've wound a little bit of the cord in it, so it's not quite as long, snapped it shut, and put another little piece of tape right over the end to stop it, just so that the strand, the S-Lon doesn't pull out. So now what you're going to do, make sure you have a good 10, 11 inches of just the plain cord beyond where the beads extend from the bobbin. And you're going to take all your cords and pull their ends together, line them all up. So this is what you've got. Tie an overhand knot just at the very end. And here we're going to grab our kumi disc and we're going to feed that knot through the end. And now you're going to need to anchor it to something. Now there are such things as kumi weights on the market. They work great, but I also want to show you something you can just make at home to make a kumi weight if you don't have one. So you're just going to need a binder clip, some of your S-Lon from your kit, and then just an object that has some weight to it. I just have a spool of wire right here. You can use a bag of pennies. You can use a dapping dowel, whatever maybe has a little bit of weight to it, and you can tie to your binder clip. So you're just going to take that binder clip and clip it to your knot and just make sure it's nice and secure. So now we're going to flip this over so the disc is facing us. And we want the dots lined up so the 32 is above you, the 16 is closest to you. And now it is important how we line up our strands. So the strands that have the 75 unions, put one to the left of the 8. You're just sorting out your strands. Okay, and then put one to the right. I guess I already put the one to the right, so left and right. And then same thing with the 24. One to the left and one to the right. And I'm going to stand as I do this because I've got some length to this. Normally I would sit in a chair and just have it drop to the side of me. Okay. So it doesn't matter if these are too tangled to the beginning because we're going to do some extra braiding that'll get cut off in the end. So then up here at the 32, left and right of 32, left and right of the 16. And just double check that you've got the strands with the check beads on them, on the 32 and the 16, and the ones with just the unions. Now this is a lot of length right here. If you can see what we've got going, I'm going to tie this up a little bit more. So to do that, go ahead and undo this and wind it up. And you can even tuck some beads in there. If you don't want so many beads hanging off to begin with, you can just tuck some beads in there and close it shut. And it will hold. I just do the painter's tape because this is an awful lot of beads I'd hate to have slip out. So it's just an extra measure. And I'm going to do that on all my strands so that they're not quite as long. So I've shortened them, and I wasn't too particular about how I did it. I'm going to be able to easily scoop more beads up as I need to. So we're going to start by creating a non-beaded portion. And the reason that we're doing that, I'll show you in a sample, is we're going to end up sticking the non-beaded portion into this end cap, and the beads would be too thick to fit in there. So we're going to go ahead and take the strand that is to the left side of the 16 when you're facing the disc, and pull it up to the left of the two strands you have up here next to the 32. And then you're going to take the strand that's to the right of the 32 and pull it down to the right of your remaining strand here. So left up, right down, rotate. Same exact thing. Take the left strand at the bottom and put it to the left at the top. Take the right strand at the top and put it down to the right of the strand at the bottom and rotate 1 degree counterclockwise. So left up, right down. Left up, right down. Left up, right down. And rotate. And so if you ever need to stop your kumihimo work, maybe you need to go to dinner, maybe you want to put it down for a while, make sure that you end, so left up to the left with 3 strands at top. That way you can put it down, you can walk away, you can move it around, whatever happens to it, you'll at least know that when you come back and you look at it, you need to look at it with the 3 strands up top, and that's exactly where you left off. And you're ready to just take the right strand down to the right and rotate. So this is really all there is to it for non-beaded kumihimo, which is what we're doing right now. And we're going to do an inch of non-beaded kumihimo. It doesn't have to be an exact inch. It can be a little shy or a little more. That's the beauty of this. It's a really relaxing jewelry making method. So I'm just going to do this until I have my inch, and then we're going to start adding our beads. So I want to show you something. So I'm stopping here with my 3 up top. My beads are getting pretty close to the disc, and it's getting a little bit hard for me to go ahead and do my beading, my braiding I should say. So I'm just going to pull my tape off, add a little extra room for my cord, and put my tape back on. So really, really easy to do. So work with whatever length of cord you're comfortable with in terms of how much you want to have it dangling below the disc. I know some people are fine with a lot, and I just find it easier with little shorter amounts. Okay. So now I want to show you what our braid is starting to look like. So there's our braid in there. It's not quite an inch yet. I'm going to keep doing it. And then we're going to add our beads, which is when it starts to really take shape. Okay, I'm going to call that close enough to an inch for me. It might be a little bit less, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I'm going to go ahead and complete my full, just the full pattern right here. I don't want to end with just 3. So go ahead and pull it down. And now on this one, I'm going to add my first bead. So your technique is going to be exactly the same technique as the non-beaded portion. The only difference is you're going to go here, you're going to pull up one of your beads and let it just pop down into that well. And then you want it to catch under the thread bridge next to it, and then just pull your thread, your warp thread. These are called warp threads. Pull your warp thread just up to the notch that it was originally destined to be in. So the technique isn't any different. You're just adding that bead. So now you're going to do that each time. So you're going to take a bead, pop it up, let it slide on down, make sure it catches under the cord next to it, and so it's anchored in there, and continue just with your braid as normal. And then rotate, pop it under, and continue placing it in its notch. And this is all there is to it. So it's really a very nice, easy, calming, very zen-like technique that you can do. I like it because I can do it while I'm talking or watching TV or just doing other stuff, which is nice. So here we go, popping it under. And it was the original placement on the disc of where we lined up our cords, the ones with the check beads and the ones without, that's going to create this spiral here in a little bit. So you won't change your technique at all to create that spiral. It was just the original placement of your strands. So here I'm just popping it under and pulling it up. And I'm going to do a little bit here so you can then see what it looks like. And you'll notice occasionally I go like this. I just tug it. And I'm tugging it just a little bit to keep my beadwork in the center. Okay, let's see what I've got. And again, I'm going to want to end with my 3 strands up top. Okay, there we go. You see how that's starting to look, which is what this part here of the necklace is going to be. And so I'm going to continue doing my braiding. I'm going to do it off camera here to save a little bit of time for this video, otherwise it'd be way too long. I'll come back on video when I hit my very first check glass bead. The technique won't change, but I do want to just show you how it starts to look when you start to create that spiral. So I'll be back in a few. I'm going to finish this last sequence with my unions, and when I rotate, I'm going to hit my very first check bead. So what you're going to do, oops, got a little piece of painter's tape right there. Okay, you're just going to pull it up and do the exact same thing. The only thing to be cautious of is it's a bigger bead in that well, so you just want to make sure it's really nicely tucked under that thread bridge next to it. And then we're going to do the same thing. So you'll notice here we've got another check bead. And then when we rotate, we're no longer going to have a check bead because remember this strand had all the unions. So you just pull it up and over. And this one down. And now we have another check. Pull it up. Let it fall down. Catch in that well. And continue with your beading the way you would normally do it. I'm going to do a little bit here so you can start to see the spiral. Again, if it gets too close to the edge, you just pull on your strand so you keep that beadwork centered. me see if we can see the spiral at this point. So flip it around, and there we go. You see how that's starting to spiral up along the edge here, and you see we've got that center spiral of the unions. So you're just going to continue beading now the rest of your beads, and it's the exact same method. And then when you finish, you're going to do another segment of 1 inch of non-beaded kumihimo. So continue beading. I'm going to do the same thing off camera, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to actually then take it off the disc, how to secure the end, and then how to go ahead and add your findings and finish your necklace. So we're getting there. Our braid is now done, so I want to show you what it looks like. Now it's still on the bobbin. We're going to take it off in just 1 minute. So we've got the beginning here, which is that inch or so of non-beaded. And then we've got the 3 distinct segments, and we've ended with about 1 inch of non-beaded again. So now we're ready to pull it off of our disc. And to do that, what you can do is just go ahead, pop the bobbins and the strands out from their notches, pull this through, and just cut it. And we are done with our discs and our bobbins as well as our kumi weight. Now what's nice is this end started with a knot. And since this one is not knotted, what you can do to keep it from unraveling is just take your kumi weight and stick it right there. So now we're ready to start finishing our ends. And we're going to do that with these little end caps. And you're going to need to bring back into play your S-long cord as well. So you're going to notice, if you just do a simple size comparison, the non-beaded portion is quite a bit thinner than the inside well of your end cap here, yet the beaded portion is actually thicker. So what we need to do is we need to bulk up this section a little bit, and it's really easy to do. Go ahead and cut off a length of 12 inches or so of S-long cord. And then you're going to place it underneath your braid, and you're going to tie a knot. And you're going to rest it down towards the beads. And then you're going to tie another knot. You can tie a double knot if you want. And then you can go ahead, pull this under again, and tie another knot. And we are just going to tie knots until we've bulked up that section. It does not have to be pretty. So we don't want to go too much further beyond what is the length of this end cap, so you can kind of just see where that's going to rest and what you're going to be hiding underneath it. So keep your knots down towards your beads. You'll notice I'm wrapping it around the braid periodically, and I'm just doing that so that the knots don't all rest at the exact same spot. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So you see how that's considerably wider now? And you can even take it and pull it down towards your beads too. Okay, I'm going to do one more knot, and then I'm going to call it good. Okay, there we go. Trim off your tails close to your knot. And then what you're going to do, grab your Post-it, grab a toothpick, and grab your E6000. I'm going to trim this. So I don't want to cut the knots I've just done, but I do want to cut my braid. And there we go. Now, if you have a new bottle of E6000, it's going to be sealed. There's a little point on the inside of the cap on the top side. Go ahead, push that. You're going to break the seal, and your glue is going to pop up. Okay, and take your toothpick and fill the inside of the well with glue. You don't want it to be completely full, but you do want to put enough in there that you can put it down at the base as well as the sides. Take that end cap and slip it over the knots you just made. And you'll feel it really grips them, and push it down so it's resting against your beads. And you're going to repeat that exact same technique with the other side of your braid right here. Our end caps are on and they've dried for about an hour. So I want to show you how long this portion is right here. So it's about 13 inches. And here we're going to now attach the chain. The chain you're given is a foot of chain. So you can put any amount you want on each side. So if you just wanted to add a couple inches on each side, you could have a 16, 17 inch necklace. And then if you wanted to, you could add the full amount. So for this kit, I'm going to add the full amount. And to find that middle point, just divide your chain in half. Find that middle link. You could use a ruler too if you want. And just cut the middle link. And now we got 2 lengths of chain that are equal. And we're just going to attach it using jump rings. So if you've never opened a jump ring before, it's really easy. There's a little slit in it. You have that slit facing away from you. You grip either side and you twist. Here we're going to link onto it our end chain link as well as the one end cap, and then just twist it back shut. We're going to go to the other side of that same chain link and we're going to attach our lobster clasp. So open a jump ring and then link it on to the clasp as well. And close it back up. Okay, now we're going to go to the other side and repeat. So we've got 2 more jump rings left. And the end jump ring here is going to serve as the other half of our clasp and the item that the lobster clasp is going to link onto. So here we go. We're going to finish this necklace. So now we've got our 4 color variations all together now. So we've got the black tie, the forest meadow, the midnight blue, and the rose garden. So now I want to show you a couple variations you can do on this design. So I'm going to move these guys just off to the side. And here we have the rose garden. So for this one, here is the full kit. Now what you can do is you of course can shorten that chain very easily so that the actual braiding rests up higher along your neckline. Now what you can also do is make the focal a little shorter as well. So you'll see in a side-by-side comparison, we just did a little over an inch of the beads, and that's what this looks like. And then what you can also do, and you would have to buy an extra 1 foot of chain to do this, you can just do the focal with the actual check glass beads for this one. And then you just need 1 extra foot of chain so you have a longer chain right here. So actually the looks are quite different and they're all using basically the same materials. Again, you would just need to add that foot of chain if you want to do this one right here. But a fun way to vary it. So this again is the Deluxe Beaded Kumihimo necklace. It's an exclusive kit by Beadaholique. And you can find the full kit as well as the refill kit, which is just the items you need to make this necklace, except for the Kumihimo disc and bobbins and glue, which you'll already have if you've bought one of our other kits. All of these are available at beadaholique.com.